welcome back to the channel. Done a reaction video, well, to like Am I the A-hole for Anime Edition. Wanted to do it this time for like the gaming. Now I know obviously these might be a little bit short, but I thought there seems to be a bit of a rabbit's hole with a lot of these. Like some of them tend, like there's tons and tons and tons and tons of them. So like I can try to make it into a series and go from there. But I found for today that just like the titles of them really caught my eye, and I thought, okay. But today I've got something a bit special. I have two handy dandy little things to change up things. The red button and the green button. If they not an a-hole, and then if they are.
No offense, but you are a stupid asshole.
But we'll go by my own personal opinion compared to the people of Reddit of what they think. So yeah. So the first one. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my little cousin to use my expensive gaming PC? Well, the verdict's already like not the a-hole, but let's have a say. I recently invested a significant amount of my savings into building a high-performing PC for gaming and my studies, as I do graphic design. I can relate to that. I need something powerful for this, as well as obviously play games and such. I spent months researching parts which I needed to build it, and even longer saving up for it. As long as I only have a part-time job because I am young, I built the PC, bought all the peripherals and everything I needed, and was super proud of myself. Wow, kudos to you. Kudos to you. Recently we were having a family gathering at my house. My 9-year-old cousin, we'll call him Leo, saw my PC, as he must have got into my room while we were talking, asked to play on my cool computer, since he mainly plays on an iPad kid. Don't get me wrong, I'm fond of the guy, but I didn't want him using my computer for multiple reasons. Like if he breaks something, I can't be replacing it. As like I said, it was very expensive, and he might have misunderstood the fragility of the PC. I also worried that he might accidentally alter or delete my coursework, getting me in loads of trouble. Understandable, you know, because it's your own personal PC, hence the word PC, personal computer and stuff. I would also have had to supervise, I would have also had to supervise him while he was playing because of his age, which I didn't want to do, as it was a family gathering and I wanted to spend the time with the family I don't see very often. Fair enough. So I told him no, and he was very disappointed, which he made very clear to his parents and mine. His parents understood my perspective, but they obviously took Leo's side. They said I could have let him play for a few minutes, and that I should have been more flexible. They also said it's just the computer, and that family should share. The just a computer part really annoyed me, as that is months of work for me, lots of consideration and care into buying and making it. No, fair dues for standing your ground on that, you know, because it's not just anything that you can just like, oh yeah, like they only cost like probably about $50, euros, pounds, whatever. You just go in and boom, boom, boom. You've actually worked your butt off and you've built it yourself. I offered to let Leo play games on my console if he wanted to play anywhere, but he was stubborn and said no, just to prove a point. So now Leo's parents aren't happy with me, and mine told me to just let it go and go to my room. I received a text from my aunt saying that I was being annoying, stubborn and unkind, and this hurt me. Am I the a-hole? No, because that's your own personal belonging, you know, especially considering, like, even if it wasn't as expensive as what you said it was, the fact of it being yours, and if you say no to letting someone use it, then they have to respect that. Like, even the adults have to respect that decision. They're like, they've got to look at it, like they've got to look at like your cousin and say, look, your cousin has said no, you got to respect that. You're 9. You're going to learn to be told no sometimes in your life. And, you know, so no, you're definitely not the a-hole in this instance. Definitely not. So, nah, definitely not. But I want to read some of the comments, see what other people had to say. Not the a-hole, it's just a computer that they just didn't pay for. Yeah, even though family should share, your cousin needs to learn that he won't be allowed to do everything he wants to do. Tell your aunt she's being annoying, entitled, and an inefficient and effective parent. Wow. But no, that's so true. That's so true. Another comment. Not the a-hole. His parents are raising him to become an entitled brat. No means no, and there should be no negotiation about it. They didn't come to your house to rent a system. They came over for a family gathering. So he should socialise. Also, this is not just a computer. This is an irreplaceable school supply that contains all your work. Would Leo be okay if you rifled through his backpack and started scribbling on his notebooks? Your aunt was the one who was behaving annoyingly, stubbornly and unkindly. Wow. That is so true. It's and that's a lot of the time that you got to try and flip the script. You've got to flip the script. Like you'd be like, okay then, so how would you feel if I did this to you? And if people said, well, I wouldn't like that, you go, well, there you go then. Don't do unto others is what you don't want others to do unto you. But no, I I agree with that. I agree with that verdict. So, not the a-hole. Right, second story. Am I the a-hole for indirectly destroying my brother's gaming console? Indirectly? What did you do? I mean, the verdict's a-hole, but okay, let's see what happens. This is a quite short one, but let's see. Okay, so this happened a few months ago. I have 2 kids. One is 5 and one is 3. One is 5 and one is 3. The whole family went over to my brother's house for my dad's birthday. Anyway, we were having a great time, and I put the kids upstairs with some sandwiches while the adults talked. So later on, my brother went in to get the kids down to play a board game, and he found that they had broken his gaming console, an old Nintendo one. Ooh. And they don't, you can't just go into your local store and buy them. You've got to buy them off of places like eBay and other kinds of places. And there was sandwich bits in the cartridge slot. No. He held it together in front of the kids but pulled me aside and really chewed me out. He yelled about how much he loved that console and how it had been with him since he was 8 years old. Our dad had bought it for him after a business trip. Wow. So he got pissed and wanted me to buy him a new one. I don't get why, as it was just a console and the games were old anyway. He demanded that I buy him one to replace it, but I told him he needs to grow up and stormed out the room. So you stormed out the room? Am I the a-hole?
No offense, but you are a stupid asshole.
To say that last sentence to say, like, I told him he needs to grow up, and the game, just the console, the games were old anyway. But just because they're old to you doesn't mean they're practically priceless to your brother. Wow. To grow up. Wow. Nah. Wow. Anyway, let's read some comments here. I bet the guy's going to get slaughtered. You're the a-hole. You left a 5 and a 3-year-old alone with food. You're lucky no one choked. Be a parent. Oof. You're the a-hole. The kids were under your supervision, although you weren't with them, and they damaged something. You chose where they were left. The items they damaged weren't left negligently lying around, so you couldn't blame your brother. You need to replace or repair the items your children damaged. It is the same as if you had damaged them. Very true. You're the a-hole. You left your children alone when someone should have been supervising them. When they broke his property, you refused to pay for it. A 5-year-old and a 3-year-old obviously don't have a great sense of value. Yeah, and it's a lot of the other comments, like you're the a-hole. Your kids are your responsibility. If they break someone's property intentionally or not, it's up to you to repair or replace it. You were rude to your brother and justified your kids breaking his things because he knew they were coming over and should have protected it. Under that logic, if your brother decides to come over and break your TV, he doesn't have to replace it because you knew he was coming over. Your entitlement complex is out of this world. Wow. It's just so weird of how, like, when some people just write some of these things out, and they don't realise as they're speaking it out or typing it out that they just seem like, oh, I'm not an a-hole, but wow. Right, next story. Right. Am I the a-hole for banning video games in my house? Oh, okay. Well, this is going to be a bit of a hot topic one. The verdict was not the a-hole, but my husband and I have 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl, 12, 7 and 11. My husband has always been a gamer. He loves everything about video games as they help him escape reality. As we all do. A lot of us. However, he is an a-hole gamer. Like, screams at the TV, gets so pissed off every single time he plays. So to me, that's not really a escape anymore. It's nothing but problems and a constant headache on my end. My mother-in-law decided that she wanted to get my kids a gaming console on a whim. Like 6 months ago. She didn't tell us or ask, she just showed up with this Xbox One. I immediately hated the idea because of my husband's gaming behaviour, but didn't say anything because I wanted to give my kids the benefit of the doubt and think that maybe they wouldn't turn into their dad. Wrong move on my part. It was fine at first, but over the course of the past month alone, there has been nothing but fighting, screaming and acting ridiculous over V-Bucks for Fortnite. And whose turn it is to play the damned console. I've warned him multiple times that I was going to take it away and it will be fine. It will be fine for a couple of days before it was right back to screaming and fighting. My husband is worse, but still. Last night I had enough. The fighting over the console was at an all-time high, to which my husband got involved in by trying to discipline the kids for behaviour that was clearly learned from him. He grounded them for 3 weeks, which honestly I'm okay with because what that game console. But then my husband proceeded to go into the bedroom and start screaming at his game, which I could hear all the way in the kitchen, downstairs on the other side of our house. So I went upstairs, took that console and said, "You're grounded too." Obviously trying to make him funny at the situation. I actually wasn't. He flipped that frick out. Whew, he flipped the frick out. So seeing this, I snapped and I said, no more gaming consoles in my house. Kids and husband are pissed and saying I'm being unfair, but at this point I don't care. Am I the a-hole? Ooh. No, you're not. because your feelings are valid in this, and considering that, and the thing is that not only that, but your mother-in-law is actually partly to blame for this as well, because obviously not speaking to you first or your husband in this regard about getting them something. And I think that's what happens a lot of the time when there's only just one console in a family household, that especially with young kids, they'll all try to pipeline, like all try to squeeze through the pipe at the same time to get that one console. And especially with 3 of them, it's a nightmare. I mean, I'm lucky. I've only got one child, and that's it. So there's no bickering, there's no nothing. And I've got a console, she has a console. We've got one each, so there's no problem there. There's no problem there. But, and for you, I mean, it's a bit of a shame that your husband's a bit of a loud gamer, I will say. I wouldn't say he's an a-hole gamer. I mean, I would upgrade him to that if he was screaming slurs, like if he was playing in like COD lobbies and all that kind of stuff, you know. But the kids, that is learnt behaviour, unfortunately. So your husband was just an unfortunate casualty in the collateral breakdown of removing the console. But it's the fact she said you're grounded too. I love it. That was good. But no, I believe that no, you're definitely not an a-hole. But there definitely needs to, you need to work with your husband, and also I know it's not ideal for most families, but sometimes to get like a schedule for this kind of stuff as well, like this person has it from this time to this time, this person has it from this time to this time, and then you work a system around that. So then they each have a go during the day before they have to go to bed, or before doing homework or whatever, or they do it after homework and before dinner. You know, it's more so about that. But I think obviously the husband's behaviour is kind of one of the main reasons why. But also I'd have a word with the mother-in-law as well, and saying like, the next time you want to do something on a whim, you need to ask us first, you know, rather than just turn up and go, here you go, wee, bye, you know, as most grandparents do. Anyway, let's look at some of the comments. Not the a-hole, but maybe when things calm down, you can have a civil family meeting or something to discuss gaming behaviours, and if people can behave, video games can be reinstated. I gave this advice as someone who is an avid gamer and often even gets frustrated with my games, yet would never let it get in the way of having a peaceful household and a relationship with my non-gaming partner. Very wise. Very, very wise. And that's another factor as well, like as I was mentioning before about putting a plan and stuff. But the other main thing about that is communication. Once again, that seems to be a common factor with a lot of these things, is that there just seems to be no cohesion of ideal situations, like just like relationships, friendships, co-workers and stuff. It just seems to be such a problem. You actually have 4 children. I like that. You actually have 4 children. Yeah, it's oh, I like this comment. I think everyone sucks here. Don't blame the game for what to me seems like a behavioural disciplinary issue with your kids. As you mentioned, they may have learned from their father. An outright ban of video games seems ridiculous to me, but setting up some kind of specific times and limits for who can use it and when, with grounding as needed if they break this agreement or be confined again. Exactly what I said. Obviously not banning or anything like that, but have a schedule as well. And he's kind of right as well. Like, not everyone sucks here, but the mum is only just acting on a kind of instinct as well, because obviously she is she's like punishing the husband as well, because of his outbursts and stuff and everything. But it's definitely learned behaviour, and especially from like the dad's perspective as well. Am I the a-hole for unplugging his console? Wow. Okay. Whew. Made this account just to ask this. My boyfriend and I are both in our late 20s, and we have been together for 2 years. We've lived together for 9 months, and everything had been going great until recently. My boyfriend works in a highly competitive field and is due for a very big promotion. With the current situation, that promotion was made conditional on certain projects getting done, which was resulted in a lot of added pressure on my boyfriend. When he worked from home, he was stressed with work, but I was always able to relax him, and we had some lovely times together. We'd cook lunch together, go for walks. 3 weeks ago, his CEO asked him to come back to the office for the hot phase, and ever since then things have gone rapidly downhill. He doesn't work crazy hours. His job doesn't allow too much overtime, thankfully, but he's often incredibly stressed out when he comes home and spends hours decompressing, usually playing PS4. It's just fair enough, you know. A stressful day at work, sometimes you just want to come home and you just want to relax. Like after a stressful day, just sit down, put your feet up, just do something that helps you de-stress. Now, I've always worked from home, and I've been trying to be as accommodating as possible. I always ask him what he needs when he comes home, cook to try and talk to him, etc. We split the housework evenly, which he insists on. Good man. You know, our time together has decreased to the point of where it's pretty much non-existent. I've tried to talk to him about this, and he's made a serious effort for a few days, having us sit and talk about our days, but I could tell it only stressed him out more. He told me he just needed some time to himself and that I wasn't helping by being on him all the time. I thought that was incredibly unfair. I tried to talk to him about this again on Monday, and all he said was, "Sweetie, I understand this frustrates you, but it's not forever. I need my brain to shut off for a while, or I'm seriously going to combust." His current project should be done by the end of the month. I know that. I'm so frustrated with how little time we spend together. I miss him so much, even though we're living in the same four walls. We haven't had relations in weeks because any time he doesn't play his games, he's too tired to do anything. So yesterday he came home. I could tell it would be more of the same. After having dinner and talking a while, he excused himself to the living room. I was fuming at that point because I felt like he was doing the bare minimum in our relationship. I went into the living room and unplugged his console right in front of him. He got silent and kind of sad. He looked at me, asked what I was doing when I told him that I was sick of him only ever playing PS4 and ignoring me, and that I needed us to go back to how things had been. He got up, told me that I had no respect for him or his situation, and to grab my shit and get out. I was so freaked out at that point that I didn't know what to do. I grabbed some clothes essentials and left to my best friends. My boyfriend hasn't picked up the phone all day. He only texted me once to tell me to stop calling because he was at work. Am I the a-hole? Oof.
No offense, but you are a stupid asshole.
Sorry to call it, but you are. It does not matter. See, this is like you're putting your needs in front. Like, I get that you wanted him to think about his promotion, but like he said, he wanted to. He just needed his brain to shut off. He said that to you, and he even said it's not forever. It's just, once again, a communication error. Like there just doesn't seem to be a communication thing here again as well, and it's just a frustrating thing. You know, and I feel for the guy. I really do. I feel for the relationship. I feel for her as well, because she wants to have a closeness with him, and I think that's the problem another problem as well, is that sometimes your jobs can really, really take over to the point of where sometimes you're just on autopilot when you get home. Like, you get up, have your breakfast, go to work, come home, have dinner, go to bed, rinse and repeat. And you do that for like nearly 45 years of your life. And it's just ridiculous, you know. But anyway, there's an edit. Weird how people can judge this. Reddit seems to be very clear on my being but my friends are saying that I was in the right for demanding more attention. your friends demanding for more attention? Demanding? No, you communicate that. You don't snap your fingers and saying, I demand this. It's not like there was cheating. It's not like there was anything bad involved there. Either way, short update. We met up today to talk about things, and I apologise for my behaviour. Good on your part. Like, you owned up to that. Good. He said he understood why I was acting the way, but he said he would not tolerate it any longer and call me some pretty hurtful things like inconsiderate and clingy. Never thought I'd hear anyone say that to me, least of all him. I'm back home now while he's still at work, and I think I will have to do more talking tonight because we left off things pretty tense. I hope we can get some sort of agreement, because I don't want to go back to how things are, even if he said that the situation right now is unavoidable and that I would just have to deal with it. He seemed happy with my apology though, thank God. No, there definitely needs to be more communication for real. Good that you apologise though, because the thing is, what most people don't realise is that just by pulling a plug on a console or even a PC, if it does not shut down properly, like if it's just if the plug is just pulled, like if the power is just cut like that, you can damage the hard drive. You can damage the system, and then it can corrupt. It can corrupt files and stuff, and then it becomes unusable. So these consoles and stuff, they're a lot of money. So to do something like that, that's very, very bad. It's the same as, like, I've seen TikToks of girls when they just do it as a trend, that they just walk up to the console and just turn it straight off while someone, like their boyfriend, their partner's in the middle of a game. So it's and they don't understand the ramifications of doing that it can actually damage the system pretty badly. But let's read some of the comments. Oh boy, OP, you're the a-hole. Your boyfriend seems to be under a tremendous amount of stress, and as far as you have written here, he's not only told you that verbally, he also set a short sort of time frame. He made it clear he understands your frustration and asked you to respect his limits and coping mechanisms until his project is finished. And you went ahead and decided your own feelings on this were more important. Wow. Yeah. Yep, you're the a-hole. She is accommodating as possible as long as he's available. She is as accommodating as possible as long as he is available on her terms. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Whew. Wow. Well, there we go. Those were some stories about a-holes in gaming. Thank you ever so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see me do next, or respond or react to other Am I the A-holes as well. Like, leave links to the stories in the comments as well, and I'll react to them. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Remember to always stay cool with it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.